Hi, I am Rick Rocks, and this is the unboxing of my Alesis Vi49. So this is actually sort of a re-unboxing. I got this on Reverb.com, new open box. So somebody bought it in some store somewhere in, I think, Quebec, actually outside of Montreal. They returned it. The new price is 300 Canadian, which is I guess around 220 US, and they had it on sale for 250 Canadian instead of 300, and then on Reverb they had it for 229. So I grabbed it. It came here within a few days. Box appears to be damaged from shipping, but I'm not really concerned about it. Got Mini over here. What? You excited about the Alesis Vi49? I am too. So we got a couple things included in here, some kind of a basic manual and a USB cable. That didn't sound good. So it turns out that sound was just the glass hitting the frame it sits on. The styrofoam is protecting the keyboard just fine. Maybe I should try to not damage this thing. And the first thing I'm wondering is, the rubber legs it sits on, is there going to be room for my mouse cable to slide through? And it looks like there is. Now the first thing that's got me really impressed with this machine is the rubber feet that it sits on are really strong. This ain't going, this is moving the whole table. And that would probably help a little bit with being on a keyboard stand, but I think it's designed for a table, which is what I happen to have for my setup, so this was a good choice. So, as you can see, you've got your pitch bend, modulation wheel, 16 drum pads, programmable to other stuff, 49 keys of course, octave down up, tempo, your transport functions. Now you've also got 12 knobs and 36 buttons. So when I was ordering it, the thing that concerned me most was that there was no sliding faders with the Alesis Vi49. Then I thought about it in my setup, and I don't need them. That's because in my setup I happen to have an Akai APC Mini, and I've been just getting used to using these faders as far as for volumes for each of the tracks in Ableton Live that I'm using. So I'm not going to need faders on my keyboard, so that's fine. Here's the keyboard I'm replacing. This is an M-Audio Axiom 61, first released in 2009. Has a lot of problems, always has. I didn't get it new in the first place. First of all, the USB cuts in and out, so I had to pay 70 bucks for a power supply cable and then run a MIDI to USB adapter to get this thing to work. It's missing 3 slider knobs, and then this entire slider, the master slider normally, is gone. I never really liked these knobs because they click every tiny turn there. That doesn't make it easy if you want to do some smooth transitional stuff. It's got the 8 drum pads. Once in a while, they're not responsive. So that's probably just from being old or whatever. And otherwise, this used to be a great unit. It's got a lot of dust on it because, well, I knew for a while I was getting there. The keyboard and just don't care. I'm lazy sometimes. Alright, so first thing you do is, of course, you plug in the USB cable. You don't need a power cord. It doesn't come with it. You don't need one. Power it on. Goes through all these little buttons, lights them up. So now it's running. Alright, so I'm just going to run through the drum pads real quick. So the Alesis puts the drum pads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 in order of where they would be on the keyboard. So from here, for example, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can reassign those if you want, but I've decided to just find them for now. This is your hi-hats and kick and snare. So the pads work fine. I find it a little bit hard to get anything lighter than the full velocity. But I usually use the full velocity on my drums anyway. I believe the software, you can use that to change the sensitivity of the velocity. I'm just not going to bother for this video. So I've actually assigned these knobs as volumes controllers for each of the 8, well, for several, you can do 12 tracks technically. I'll just show you how smooth it works. I'm going to turn the volume of this track down, slightly down. And here we go, we're going back up, and so forth. So that's fine. But I'm going to continue, I'm not going to use these knobs for that. I'm going to use my faders for my Akai for this. I'm going to use these knobs for panning left and right, and I'll find some other uses for them. The biggest problem I seem to run into in the multiple people who've reviewed this keyboard on YouTube and wherever else is 36 buttons over here, and people not being able to find uses for them. I'm finding uses for them, but certain things not. For example, you can hear the buzz, the humming in track 3 from what was a guitar input. Now I'm going to arm 4. Nothing happened. It turned off that. Because it knows it's already off, so you have to push it again. Right? Well, what if you want to go back and forth? You're going to push twice. So if I use my Alesis, or if I use my Akai APC, I can go back and forth. No problem. So now we're rocking 5 again, arming this mic. So yeah, not very useful for record arm. There might be a way to change it so it's not a switch using the software, but I'm not going to get into the software for this video. I'll show you what I have found useful though. So this is some of the setup for my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cover I did there recently. What I've done is taking the second and third button of the left and right guitar tracks, and I've turned this button into turning distortion on or off, and then reverb on and off. And watch what happens. I'll play these guitars right now. I'll turn on the distortion for the left guitar, track 3. And then you can turn them off. That's when a switch is useful. Now let's go with reverb. Both tracks on. And distortion for left. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja. So that's very useful. I also have a reverb assigned to this track 5 that I'm speaking into, and I've assigned the third button is for reverb as well. So reverb off, reverb on. Here we go. On, off, on, off, on. Now the good thing about these buttons acting as a switch, although it makes it useless for certain things, in this case I can see right here, I can see that the reverb's on by the light. Before, so let's say you're going to perform, you grab your guitar, you're about to start playing, you can look and see, okay, these are on, I want them on. So if something was off, you'd know and you'd push it. Good to go. Another thing, all these transport buttons work out of the box, no software needed. For example, and well, that might be useful for live music. Let's do that again. That section you just watched may be known to some as the most annoying part of this video. Alright, well based on my setup, you can see I'm pretty happy with the Alesis Vi49, but it's definitely not for everyone. If you have a need for some sliding faders, it's probably not the keyboard for you. Unless you have another solution like I have, another device that can do the fading for you. If you like this video, then please go ahead and like and subscribe. But more importantly, go ahead and check out my other videos. This channel is not all about reviews.